Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Today my group will be presenting on budget 2022, less revenue, bigger deficit as country in post-COVID recovery. But first, I will introduce my group mates. Start with ABDUL Hadi bin Muhammad FIRDAUS Uy, Mohanieza binti Mus, NURR IZATTIE binti SHAFIEE, myself NURR ADRIANA ATHIRA binti Muhammad SUZAIRI, and lastly NURR Aliyah binti KHAISUL MAHDI.
Now, I will start the presentation with the first part, which is introduction. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the whole country starting in 2019. This had given an impact in terms of finance, economy, health, and so on. This effect had a huge impact on all countries, and one of the countries is Malaysia. This can be seen where Malaysia is experiencing difficulties in terms of national income, which is constantly declining as a result of the closure of the borders, and economic activities are stopped for a while. Due to this effect, the country was hit by a huge deficit. However, in 2021, the government has redrafted the budget and made several initiatives to increase the country income. By this, we can understand that budget can be defined as a management done by any organization to ensure that activities can be carried out properly. In addition, the budget can also be shaped in a number of features such as planning and coordination, authority and responsibility, speech and control. This is because the budget formed by the organization must comply and follow the planning that is compiled in order to avoid some problems such as wastage or misuse. The purpose of budgeting is to enable the actual activities performance to be measured, provide a systematic way of reviewing estimated with actual result, coordinating future activities and setting realistic target. It is because it can help government to ensure all the activities can run smoothly. For this presentation, we will discuss about the news that has been written in Malaysia Kini, published on 29 October 2021 regarding budget 2022, less revenue, bigger deficit as country in post-COVID recovery. In this news, it written about 2022 budget initiative that has been made by the government. This we will continue in the next part by my group mate, which is NURR Aliyah.
Next, I will proceed with the main issue, which is less revenue during pandemic COVID-19. What is revenue? According to IPSAS, revenue is comprises gross inflows of economic benefits or service potential received and receivable by the reporting entity, which represents an increase in net assets or equity, other than increases relating to contributions from owners. Just to let you know, IPSAS is International Public Sector Accounting Standards. However, less revenue during COVID-19 became a main issue for the government is due to the matter of providing facilities and welfare to the people. This is because the government has a lot of responsibilities to the public from various angles, and all of these indeed require a huge amount of resources to implement. For example, government provide and deliver public goods and services, pay compensation to public sector worker, and so on. In fact, we know that during pandemic, government as well as the public face many problems that related to money as the country's economy is declining. Moreover, this main issue gives an impact to the government where it arises several related issues, which are increases in national debt and bigger fiscal deficit, and this will be continued by my other group mate.
Okay, I will continue with the related issue of less revenue during pandemic COVID-19. The related issue is increased national debt. According to Kimberly, national debt can be defined as how much country owes to lenders. It means the government borrow the money from other party, or also known as total outstanding debt of the central government. Example of the party that provide the loan is International Monetary Fund, or also known as IMF. IMF is the one of the international financial institution that exists. As we know, pandemic COVID-19 causes country to gain less revenue, so it leads to increases in the national debt. From the statistic that published by the countryacademy.com, Malaysia has recorded increases of national debt in 2020, which is $228,619 million, and it equal to 67.78% of Malaysian gross domestic product (GDP). As compared with 2019, which is the beginning of the COVID-19 virus, at the end of that year, the national debt only recorded about $208,513 million, that equal to 57.07%. This shows that it has increased about $20,106 million, which is 10.71% GDP. So, why government is in debt? From the statistic, it must be a reason why the government must go into debt. The reason is government need to bear the existing debt burden due to declining national income. The government should pay off the national debt by using the surplus available revenue. But with the COVID-19 pandemic situation at that time causing the health and economic crisis to occur simultaneously, that caused government had to take such action. So my group members will continue with the next point.
The COVID-19 pandemic caused fiscal deficit on Malaysian economy. The lockdown measures have restricted local commerce. According to MAHDI, the chief statistician of Malaysia, he said the high unemployment rate in March 2020 reflects the negative impact of MCO on the labour market. During the pandemic, Malaysia's GDP dipped to negative territory. At fiscal deficit means the difference between the total revenue and total expenditure of the government, minus 17.2%. In 2020, Malaysia's GDP growth was minus 5.6%, compared to the GDP growth of 4.4% in 2019. It was expected that in 2021 the fiscal deficit could widen to 6.5%. This time, the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, said the Malaysia's fiscal deficit is expected to dip by 6% in its GDP.
So I will continue with my part, which is solution that have been made by the government from the issue of increased national debt. So the first solution to solve the problem is implement the tax. Government have decided to increase the taxes to this country. This is one of the part of the government to rolling back their income and revenue due to COVID-19. The increases of taxes can help the government to gain their income and revenue by arrange back the budget 2022. According to the Ministry of Finance, Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz stated that the 22 budget has gained the support from bipartisan, namely the government and the Pakatan Harapan, which was previously in charge on solving the problem during COVID-19. Tengku Zafrul noted that the war against COVID-19 is not over yet. He also stated that by implementing the tax, it will impose a special tax on high income generating companies, and it is done on a one-off corporate tax. This tax is known as a makmur tax. According to the Minister of Finance, Tengku Zafrul, company with a taxable income of the first 100 million will be subject to income tax of 24%. For the remaining taxable income, it will be subject to income tax of 30% of the year 22. This will further increase the need to fund affected group and the health system to be more resilient in the face of future challenge. For the second initiative stated by the Minister of Finance is tax based to the expended income from foreign sources received in Malaysia will be taxed from 1 January 2022, and goods of value from abroad sold in Malaysia by traders hand to consumer in Malaysia via air courier service will be subject to sale tax. Service tax is also included on the delivery of goods except for the delivery of food, beverage and logistics. For example, Amazon. This is because some of people in Malaysia like to purchasing online from this website.
With regards to the fiscal deficit problem, the government came up with a solution. That is fiscal consolidation and revenue sustainability. Fiscal means things that are related to finance, especially taxes, and consolidation means to make something stronger or more solid. So fiscal consolidation refers to policies aimed at reducing government deficit and debt accumulation. 2020 is expected to be the year of recovery, where the government commences reform and fiscal strengthening to prepare to face future challenges. The initiative include Fiscal Responsibility Act, FRA. The purpose of FRA is to improve governance, accountability, and transparency. The government is collaborating with the World Bank to conduct the public expenditure review to ensure efficiency and effectiveness of public spending without undermining public service delivery. With that, the government hopes to improve productivity in public spending in order to optimize every ringgit of the citizens' money. As for the revenue sustainability measures, the initiative revolves around taxation. The government of Malaysia aims to maintain revenue sustainability through equitable tax treatment. The rate of stamp duty, or stamp nota kontrak, has been raised from 0.1% to 0.15%. It is a tax government imposed on legal documents, especially for the transfer of assets or property. The government also imposed tax to residents in Malaysia whose income originates from foreign sources starting from 1st January 2022. The government imposes sales tax on goods not exceeding 500 ringgit that comes from abroad sold by sellers to the consumers in Malaysia via air courier service. The government imposes tax on delivery services for goods on e-commerce platform. However, foods and beverages are excluded from this tax. The Royal Malaysian Customs Department is to introduce special voluntary disclosure program. The program is meant to provide opportunities for companies or individuals to make voluntary disclosure of duty, tax, levy, or penalty liabilities that remain outstanding. The Inland Revenue Board Malaysia has to issue tax compliance certificate. The tax compliance certificate is issued as a prerequisite for companies to participate in government procurement. To broaden the income tax base, the tax identification number is implemented this year. Tax expenditure statement will be published to improve fiscal discipline and transparency. The government also wants to impose a special one-off windfall tax called Cukai Makmur on companies with high income. The purpose is to help citizens affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Companies with chargeable income of up to 100 million ringgit are taxed at 24%. If the company has more than 100 million ringgit chargeable income, they get taxed at 33%.
Now, we move to the last part of the presentation, which is conclusion. In the conclusion, it can be said that initiative that made by the government was to help in increasing country revenue. This is because when revenue of the country is increased, it can help to reduce the amount of debt and deficit. This initiative also will impact the people by getting more assistance to ensure the people welfare is secure in the form of health and economy.